Hey, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention, Oz Chris, here with reviews on Aquaman number 47, Middlewest number 6, and Transformers number 3. So starting off with all new Aquaman number 47, Revenge of the Lost Gods. So the end of Kelly Sue Deconnick's first story arc, Unspoken Water. Namma has turned into a dragon. She obviously watches too much Game of Thrones and decided, I want to be like Drogon. And Aquaman, Andy, taps into his powers to call on the old gods who were the villagers on the island him and Kale were living on, and they arrive to help fight off against Namma. But Namma decides, I'm going to go away from Game of Thrones, and I think King Ghidorah is looking pretty cool right about now with the new Godzilla film coming out. So she takes on a King Ghidorah kind of form and splits off with 3 heads, and the old gods are able to save Aquaman from her, help her out throughout the whole fight, but they decide what she wants is revenge on the gods that defied her, her husband, her children, all of that. If we give her what she wants, meaning us, maybe, just maybe, she'll stop and she'll be happy. So each of these old gods sacrifice themselves to Namma, thinking that she'll be pleased, that her revenge will end. But as they find, it doesn't. All it does is just give her a freaking power up. But Kale and Aquaman are able to figure out a way. One of the old gods inside of her, Tang, since all of the old gods were able to hear the call from Aquaman, and they're now a part of Namma, he can try and call them from within, which results in Namma being defeated, literally being torn apart because of all of the gods being forced out of her, and she's defeated. The day is saved. Nice, simple end. Nice and not that quick, but nice and simple end to the story arc. So story 4 out of 5. This was a good issue. It wraps it up nicely, but it doesn't end with like Namma completely. She's gone forever. It's just like she will return one day, because if they introduce this just new villain and she gets MCU'd, so she just dies as soon after she's introduced. Any other villain from the MCU is just like, hey, you could be a potentially good villain. No, you're dead. You died. The Killmonger effect, I'll call it. Villains who could have potential if they were kept alive, but the writers decide to kill them off because I don't know why. So Namma suffers her second major defeat, but it's hinted she will return for vengeance. So Aquaman, Kale, and the old gods have saved the day. So, yep, 4 out of 5 for the story. Art by Sunny Go. Sunny Go did the coloring, but the art by Robson Roker. 5 out of 5. This was probably at its best with the art. The art was really amazing and good in this issue. So obviously, save the best for last. There weren't a lot of good 2-page spreads like in some of the other issues, but the art was just absolutely amazing. But regardless, the art was definitely good. And the cover by Roca Henrique and Alex Sinclair, 4.5 out of 5. Really good looking cover. Revenge of the Lost Gods kind of got their revenge, even though they initially sacrificed themselves. But the art and coloring on this is really good. And good issue regardless. So, not regardless, good issue overall, I meant. So Middlewest number 6, written by Scotty Young, art by Jorge Corona, coloring by Jean Francis Belu. So Abel's father has rampaged through Jeb's house, I will say, and forcing Maggie and the rest of the crew of the carnival to move on to evacuate in order to avoid him. So we just get a little bit of Abel, his time, his experience working here with the carnies, so to speak, and him actually just enjoying his life for once. But Maggie fulfills her end of the promise and tries to reveal the truth of about Abel, his father, all of that. But Abel is unable to control his memories and he goes out of control. And I'll leave it there. Story 3 out of 5. It has its moments, but I think the problem Middlewest has had, particularly with its last half of this story arc, is it feels like it's gonna go into the plot, but then it doesn't. Like, you know, with his father having rampaged through Jeb's place, them leaving, and then at the end, near the half to the end, him and Maggie exploring his memories, going to reveal what happened, etc., before he goes berserk. But the rest was just unnecessary, and it's I don't know. Like, it has a lot of potential, but sometimes they just can't. It seems like Scotty Young just forgets. Oh yeah, plot. What is that? So yeah, 3 out of 5. It was average. Art, 4 out of 5. I didn't enjoy the art by Corona and Belu. Really good art. The cover by Mike Huddleston. 4 out of 5. Not a bad looking cover. Good art and coloring on that. So on to Transformers number 3, A Bold New Era. Written by Brian Ruckley, art by Angel Hernandez, Catchet Whitman, coloring by Joanna Lafuente. So after his assassination, Megatron hires gets volunteers for a new Deconnick guard to protect him. A fact which some of the Autobots are not happy about, especially one of their members that have joined the Quake, who really, really loves to fight and just fight and kill, as they kind of talk about in a kind of an origin for Quake, flashback as such for Quake. But going past that, Bumblebee and Rubble have their kind of mentor, their fun time on their own, but before they're called over by Chromia and Windblade, and I'll leave it there. Story, same with Middlewest, 3 out of 5, average, and I say same as Middlewest as this seems to have the same problem as that. It feels like there's parts where it's leading into the plot, but then it doesn't, and it just goes into this filler. A lot of this is just filler. I found it was average, but filler. There's like, where's, Ruckley, where's the plot? I remember there's a plot to this. Do you, honestly? So yeah, 3 out of 5. Art, the art by Hernandez, Whitman, and Lafuente, who did the coloring. 4 out of 5, not that bad, really liked it. Cover, so I got the cover B, which was by, gonna go back here. I think it's Anna, their name is Anna. Yeah, the art by Anna Malkova. It was much more eye-catching than the standard one. So I got the B cover. 4 out of 5 for that one. The art and coloring of that is good. So that is it for these reviews. And one final thing to note, and there's a reason why I reviewed all three of these together. I am dropping all three of these. These two, mainly because of the plot. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. It's not catching my interest. With Middlewest, it had potential, but then halfway through, it felt like, what's even a plot? Yeah. Do we need that? Do we really need a plot? Do we? I mean, that's the impression I got. It just didn't feel like it was leading, in parts, it was leading to a plot, leading into the story, but then it just decides, nope, let's show parts of carnies. Yeah, definitely. That's important. It seems like it's more focused on showing the world instead of the story. Which is fine if there's a good mix, but it didn't feel like there was a good mix. So, the last half really wanted to show you this is the world of Middlewest. It's just, I'd rather have this story. Okay, so that's kind of why I'm dropping Middlewest. I might pick it up with trades depending. With Transformers, after 3 issues, it had a good start with like the kicker of at the end of like, someone's murdered Brainstorm, and then Megatron and his Decenticons are having all these protests and stuff, but same with Middlewest, it just feels like, where's the plot? The plot isn't going anywhere. It feels like it's gonna finally touch on the plot and then decide, filler. Like, a lot of this was just, particularly the Bumblebee and Rubble parts, which compose like 4/5 of this issue a filler, and it doesn't interest me. So I don't know, unless it gets better. It takes much easier to come out in a trade for this because it comes out twice a month, bi-weekly. So I don't know, maybe, but it just doesn't interest me anymore. I thought it was going to be interesting, but it didn't interest me. Like, you can set up this whole murder mystery, but by at least halfway through the plot, which should be issue number 3, given that most stories are 6 to 7 issues long, for the most part, since most stuff are made for trades nowadays, there's got to be like that good initial jump into the plot with the 3rd issue. But this, it really sets up nothing because the majority of it was filler. So that's why I'm dropping Transformers. Aquaman, though, I'm dropping on a much better note than these two. With Kelly Sue DeConnick, she's actually done a good run so far. It's not as good as Abnett's, not as good as Jeff Johns, but is a good run regardless. I know a lot of people were worried. It's like, oh, great. Oh, the woman who gave us Carol Danvers as Captain America and Bitch Planet. Oh, great. Kelly Sue DeConnick. She's going to ruin Aquaman. It's going to be SJW Aquaman. Yada, 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 yada. I had my worries because I've read some of Kelly Sue's writing and it's just, but I went in with an open mind and I found this is good. But this, I will definitely probably continue trade buying. Unlike Abnett's run, it doesn't feel like it has that, I need to read this. I have to get this. I have to. If I miss out, I'm going to be devastated. It just doesn't have that same feel as that Abnett's run had. But regardless of that, she's had a solid first story, a really good run. But I think just the main problem with it is like with most comics nowadays, deconstruction. It's an unnecessary Aquaman deconstruction because everyone thinks they're Alan Moore nowadays, and if they start a run, they have to deconstruct the character and reconstruct him back up later on. So that's the only flaw I would really give to Kelly Sue DeConnick's run at Aquaman. it's just another deconstruction. But overall, it's a good run. But I'm at least ending it on a good note. I'm not ending it on a sour note like with Middlewest and Transformers. Ending it on a really good note, and I'll just at least continue to trade by it at least. So that's all. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.